Good day, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Love Shack, baby. It's time for some Teatime predictions update. A wonderful week has passed, but of course, not without more global tensions and this continued effort by the globalists to suppress now our free speech and push us closer and closer to global conflict. But will they actually get their way? As pushy as they have been lately? Well, we're going to talk about that today because it's really important. And not long ago, another really important thing that I predicted is that there would be another big bird flu pandemic type of thing coming to our way. And against our food, of course, eggs and poultry specifically. Now up there in the British Columbia, they're targeting the poor ostriches now, friends. You heard me right, ostriches. Yes, they are birds, even though they can't fly. And these ostriches on this farm aren't even used for food consumption. This is a story you are going to want to hear today, friends. And are they coming for our backyard chickens next? The outbreak pandemic with the bird flu has been crazy over the past week, and we have to cover that today. Just like folks are still talking about the whole Charlie Kirk thing, especially after the huge funeral here in Arizona over the weekend. And, just like the Epstein case, friends, there are many powerful folks, too many powerful folks, that do not want this truth out there at all whatsoever. And so there's going to be more, though, unfortunately, according to Team Spirit. We see, of course, the obvious cover-ups, the fake messages, text messages, and proof that the shooter was behind Charlie. Maybe even underneath him, but definitely not in front of him, as they tell us. So, will we ever get the truth in this? Could this be the flag flying ever so falsely that Spirit warned we would be witnessing here in the U.S.? Could be. Now, I talked many times about many breaks in cases involving the little ones. Those caught up in traffic and the rescue of the little ones. Well, in Alabama, have you seen that? The rescue of 10 little ones held captive in a bunker. Extremely disturbing. Thankfully, they have been rescued and many arrested, of course. I think at least 7 people, several others. Rescued in different states also. There's been rescues in other states. And even in this country of India, there's been rescues. And hopefully this list is going to continue to grow. Along with the list of more resignations taking place, just as predicted, this past week, beginning with the founder of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, an ABC news anchor resigned after paying tribute to Charlie Kirk's, passing. Jimmy Kimmel, we know, was pulled, but now he's back on the telly, friends. Thanks to Disney, of course. Of course, Disney would put it back. Remember, months ago, I did predict the fall of late-night television. So do you think Jimmy Kimmel's going to last? I do not. Now, more major protests against Israel and clashes, big clashes, friends, this time in Milan, Italy. Wow, it was amazing, the protests that happened there. Several other countries are now recognizing Palestine statehood. So do you think the United States will ever recognize that Palestine statehood? Not anytime soon, I assure you. Now, Israel just came out saying that they used laser beams to intercept missiles. What did I tell you about the use of new weapons over there, friends? Not to mention the many discussions that we had about this technology, the Mountain Dew technology to be specific. And are you familiar with Israel's big deal? Project Nimbus? Yeah, if not, just go look it up for yourself. I won't even talk about it today. But I will just mention that it's a big deal they made with Google. I think $43 or $47 million deal. Basically, to mop up the internet. Project Nimbus, Nimbus, look it up. A sure sign that they want to control the world. Not just what they want to control. They want to control everything. So what's going to happen with Israel in the near future? And Palestine, specifically. And all of the Middle East, actually, because things are about to escalate, whether people want to admit it or not. So much is happening in the world, friends, as we just stepped into the eclipse and equinox season. Things are about to shine, and we are going to be seeing the sudden strange sky events, which are already beginning in past predictions. An alleged meteorite. Have you seen that alleged meteorite that's growing? Like something out of a horror movie? The rapture was supposed to happen. But today's the 24th in the morning when I'm recording this afternoon, 12:14 to be exact, here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. And I'm still here. guess Jesus didn't come. Did he come for you? Nope, you're still here too. I think everybody's still here. I haven't heard of anybody missing. Told you they pick a different date every year. So much going on in the world, friends. So get that there tea kettle brewing because it's a Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time, baby. Welcome aboard once again, beautiful souls. I hope you all had a great week, a great weekend, while also taking advantage of the amazing and powerful energies that came flowing in over the weekend, starting with that new moon in Virgo, that solar eclipse that darkened parts of the southern hemisphere. And on that note, actually, eclipses, wherever they go above or wherever they pass by, always have an influence over that land. So that would make me think that the solar eclipse being seen in the southern hemisphere is going to bring more geographical events to the southern hemisphere. And I just thought of that. That just popped in my mind. I haven't looked exactly where it went, but I know you couldn't see it here in the northern hemisphere. But y'all down there in the south could. So is this going to be a sign of coming earthquakes and big storms hitting the southern hemisphere, especially over the next few months? Especially when we step into the month of November and that big intense energy shift, that's going to be a doozy. But let's get through September and October first. So now, again, that solar eclipse in Virgo and the solar eclipse that darkened parts of the southern hemisphere, followed up by the very next day, we had the equinox, of course, and the balance of light and dark. To me, that is a very significant and powerful weekend indeed. Our ancestors would still be dancing and drumming and singing and chanting to this powerful energy shift over the weekend. Personally, I found the energies to be quite lovely over the weekend, but maybe that was just me. I know it wasn't everybody. That powerful new moon solar eclipse in Virgo marks off this whole new starting point for all of us. Really, it's a time to really plan our intentions, and you still can do so. There's still time to plant those intentions for the future, while allowing that light to shine on whatever issues that we still need to release and let go of. And I found personally a little bit of a small disruption in my sleep over the weekend. Not last night, but over the weekend for sure. Definitely had an effect on my sleep schedule. How about you? Let me know in the comments down below. And I'm sure most of you, again, probably also had a little disruption in your sleep. But have you also noticed, just as Spirit told us last week, be prepared because your dreams are going to increase and your memory and recall and recollection of your dreams is going to increase. Some wild dreams. Even last night I had some wild dreams. It was like I was looking at this property and it felt like I was in Ireland because I remember in the background it looked almost like a castle and I was taking pictures. I can't remember who I was with, but it was a neat property. Like all this old structures around it. It was pretty interesting actually. Really interesting dream. So I bet you've had some pretty interesting dreams over the weekend too, friends. What do you think? Now remember, on the equinox, the 22nd, which was also my birthday. So I want to take a moment, a huge thank you to all the hundreds and hundreds of folks on social media who sent birthday wishes and those who sent me cards and so forth. I am very grateful. Thank you. I spent 2 days in ceremony over the weekend, Sunday and Monday actually. Doing clearing energy in and around the home, topped off by a big protection of the property and an offering to the spirits that protect the property. So it was a busy Sunday and Monday. I even spent equinox morning making a really awesome, I should have brought it to show you. I'll have to run in the house and grab it and show you later. A elk skin drum that I made on the equinox, very special. I still got to paint the front of it. And then back to the 22nd, that is when we also had Mars enter into Scorpio. And I know some Scorpios that are definitely dealing with this, or people that have Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant. This brings in a whole nother surge, friends, of emotions, a whole nother surge of emotions. And another heightening, of course, of water-related events. So be aware. Speaking of water-related events, remember I warned Tokyo back on September 11th, they had big flooding in the suburbs of Tokyo. That just memory came to my head. It's not a topic today, but speaking of water and it's being heightened even more so with these water events. Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. Very powerful transits. Now, I did talk about that whole Mars and Scorpio on last week's show. So if you happen to miss last week's Tea Time, be sure to go back and check it out. Speaking of which, too, another thing to mention is the subtitles. The subtitles are automatic on YouTube. Content providers have no control over that. YouTube automatically does it, and sometimes it takes a few hours for YouTube to translate everything into subtitles. For some reason, last week's show the subtitles aren't working. I went in and I looked. I have no control over it. I see that they don't work. I have no idea. So I know there were dozens of comments. Turn on the subtitles. I can't turn them on if YouTube didn't create them last week. So maybe it was a glitch in their matrix system. Probably was. Now, September 23rd, yesterday, we had the sun opposite I can talk. We had the sun opposite Neptune in Aries, along with the sun in Libra, trine Uranus in Gemini. So this transit's really telling us all, friends, that we need to be more mindful of all things propaganda being pushed out in our faces. And it's happening already, constantly propaganda. But this is when more and more people are going to wake up to it. More and more people are going to wake up to this push of false information and this propaganda, especially propaganda coming out of Israel. But even here in the United States, it doesn't matter where, every country, propaganda. And it's going to be a huge challenge, as it is already at times, deciphering the truth from propaganda. But this is the interesting part with this whole transit and these alignments and energies coming in this week. This is going to force people to pay more attention, a whole lot more attention. And not to believe everything that they see or hear, especially if it's on the internet or on, especially anything that the media is pushing out, because they're always pushing out something. But this is going to make people pay more attention to it. The media is a huge focus right now, as I said in past predictions and for September's forecast. The media being called out on things. People resigning from the media. Big changes in the media. Even I see bankruptcy. One media company claiming bankruptcy. I don't know what that is all about, but that just came to me. So that should be interesting. Maybe it'll be the controlling news network, CNN. So again, this is going to force more and more people to pay attention and not to believe everything the media pushes. And this transit's also going to welcome in a whole bunch of lots of new and amazing breakthroughs. So there's good that comes out of everything too. It's always a balance, especially in equinox season, good and bad. Take the good, you take the bad, and there you have it, the facts of life. Anyway, today is September 24th. It's just after the noon hour here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, and things are going to get really interesting as today is the peak intensity for the Sun trine Pluto and Mars square Pluto. And this Libra Aquarius combined with the Sun and Pluto, this is a very powerful, power. It's really powerful. And it's when power truly aligns. It's going to be really interesting. And I felt it this morning. As soon as I woke up, I felt a little weird this morning. How about you all? Let us know in the comments below. Did you feel a little weird today when you woke up? Do you feel a little odd now this evening when you're watching this? And for some people, it's probably Thursday. And again, I'm a day late and $1 short with today's episode, only because I usually prep the show on Mondays and record on Mondays. That was Equinox and B-Day, I had to celebrate all that. So I prepped yesterday, and I was going to record last night, but I'm like, I'd rather do it tomorrow, fresh and early as possible. I didn't get as early because there's lots of things going on, but here I am, recording just after the noon hour. You'll be watching this at some point this evening, as long as the uploads go good. So this whole thing, again, this is where power truly aligns. As if there hasn't been enough shakeups in the world lately, right? As if there's not. Well, guess what? This is going to bring about more big shakeups with leadership. And better yet, whistleblowers are going to help to shake up the system even more. You got to love a good whistleblower. I'm still waiting for that next Edward Snowden to come about that Spirit showed us. Hoping that's this year sometime. I'm thinking even November could be very prominent with that. And I expect more shakeups and even a few whistleblowers, including newly discovered footage around the whole Charlie Kirk takedown. There's obviously way more to this than people even realize. Way more. Oh, some of you do realize, actually. And we have this Mars in Scorpio, square Pluto and Aquarius, which is a volatile one, friends. That is a very volatile one as I spit across the room. Excuse me. This is when things can really escalate, especially in matters of conflict. Mars is the planet of war. This will also put both cyber and infrastructure to the test in the coming weeks, in the coming months. So we're going to see major outages around everything cyber related. The internet, websites going down, perhaps an influx of computer viruses, and most certainly huge cyber attacks. Now, that's just starting now, but I feel like that's going to even move into November. Late October into November, when we step into that Mercury retrograde, the energy shifts, and all the other stuff that's going on around that time. Remember, this year, the month of November is the 11 vibration, so that's going to be interesting. Interesting month. But again, let's get through September and October first. I also see big outages around social media platforms, but only in some countries. It's not everywhere. It's in certain countries. I'm not sure which countries. I'm sure here in the United States will be affected in some way. Parts of Europe, even down under, will be affected. But different countries where they temporarily lose their TikTok or their Instagram, or I see also a major cyber attack that's coming on X, the X platform, which I predicted in the past, and it happened. But once again, they'll cover that up as a system update or a glitch in the system update. It will be a cyber attack. And, we know how now because we are ahead of the truth on this one, friends. So when X goes down, it's a cyber attack because you heard it here first. I also see airlines. I see airlines with some type of huge outage with airlines. And I feel this is somewhere in Europe, perhaps connected to France specifically. I also feel that Putin is working with North Korean hackers, and they are planning some type of a major cyber attack. This could likely be directed towards several countries, the United States being one of them, but mostly European countries. And I feel that, and you know what? Poland just jumped in my head. So huge cyber attacks in Poland coming out of Russia and North Korea. Spirit's showing me this vision. I see they all look like North Koreans to me. There might be one or two Russians in the room, but there's this whole room of hackers. And I actually think this is located in Russia. Means I see two people look like they could be Russian. But all the rest are definitely North Korean. And they're on them computers typing away. So interesting vision. Thank you, Spirits. Interesting vision. So again, I feel some type of issue, perhaps a glitch, or even some kind of outage or cyber attack also coming to Tesla. That was another one that came to me I thought was a little odd. Something happening with Tesla, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but it feels to me like it's something that very well could have their stocks drop quite a bit. And we see now silver and gold, right? Have you seen the prices of silver and gold? Whoo, baby. Yeah. Continuing to move upwards as predicted. And I have this feeling that there's going to be another surge upwards that's approaching with precious metals. I think likely sometime perhaps in October. So it's still a good time, friends, to get out there and stock up on some precious metals and make some money on it. Or at least have that as your backup. This would also make me believe that if there's going to be a surge in the precious metals, then there's going to have to be some type of big drop that's coming in the markets, in the stock markets. Which brings in another issue. Or another spike. That's another big spike in precious metals. Ooh, felt like a bug just crawled in my ear. Remember that movie, The Bug, from the 70s? I think it was called The Bug. I don't even know where that just popped in my mind. But anyway, the market, I feel like a big drop is coming in the market, which brings in this other surge or spike in precious metals. And I feel that we could still see gold. I have no doubt, actually. Gold is going to soar over $4,000 an ounce. And I saw a vision of it being $4,444 or $4,440. I saw triple fours. And they we know how the globalists like to use their master numbers and such. But 4,400, that would be an 8 connection. But that's what I see. I see it rising high, friends. I see it rising high. Now, a good aspect to all of this is that it can give us this, literally we could call it surgical courage to end what's unhealthy. what never not serves our health anymore, both on a personal level and for the collective. So all these intense transits and energies flowing in over the past week, be aware of how it can actually affect your health, both on a positive level and a negative level. It's literally a portal of energy. And think of portals. Portals, like the black hole, portals pull things inwards. They attract things to them. Kind of like we have portals in Arizona, Sedona. A lot of them. 13 to be exact is my count anyway. Aligned with the 7 chakras and the 6 chakras that are above our head. And it attracts certain types of people and certain things. Certain vortexes attract certain things, both good or bad. So with this portal of energy that's happening right now, this is where things that are good and bad both become heightened. So the good times become great times, but also the challenging moments become more challenging. So be aware of that during these windows and channel that energy the best you can, especially when it's maybe having any kind of negative connotation to it. Now remember to watch your obsessions. We all have them, whether we want to admit them or not. Watch your obsessions because they are going to be a big part of the challenge over the next week or two. And lastly, remember, the energies that are in right now affect the nervous system. And the Virgo energy, of course, rules over the digestive system, all the way down to the colon. So you may be experiencing heightened anxiety. You may even have heightened moments of tranquility or joy. But overall, keep your emotions intact, friends. Do not overreact and take notice to what your body's actually telling you during this time. Because I was just talking to Dr. B a little while ago, and I mentioned that about the digestive system and all that. She was like, oh my God, I had all these patients come in this week with different digestive issues, weird ones, and food poisoning and all this weird stuff. So yeah, friends, be aware of your food too right now. Because again, food poisoning still attacks the digestive system. A close family friend, extremely close family friend's colon ruptured and is in the ICU. Again, it's that energy that's in right now. So these are wake-up moments when it comes to our health. So it's a good reminder here today, friends, that you keep yourself grounded, nurture yourself, and more importantly, nurture your body, your mind, and your spirit during this very critical time and this very critical window of time. Beautiful souls, I just want to take a moment to welcome you to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Joseph Tittel, spiritual medium, aka Spiritman JT. Hope you're all having a great day. A big thank you to all those who have sent me birthday wishes and birthday all over social media, hundreds of them. I have a few gifts here. I'll show you them in a little bit at the end of the show. Just a few. But thank you. I am absolutely grateful for the kindness and generosity and the birthday wishes and so forth. Also, if you're new here and you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, great meditations, all kinds of great content, you want to vibe with this awesome tribe, the Tittle Tribe, baby, smash that subscribe, the bell and all. And join Team Spirit. Make sure you hit the bell and all so that you get notifications. And know that I'm usually here every Tuesday, but we're a day behind. Day late, dollar short, as my pop would say. Because it was my birthday and I wasn't working on my birthday. You should never work on your birthday. To me, that is sacrilegious. Sac spiritual. They say sacrilegious. I say sac spiritual. Nope, don't work on your birthday. Otherwise, you're programming all of next year to be the same old stuff around your, work and business, and you don't want that. You want to relax, nurture yourself, and enjoy yourself. I usually take a week. I only took a couple days this time because I just traveled to Peru for 2 weeks and about to travel again. And speaking of traveling again, all the events, because people are now even contacting the venues where I'm holding my events, like the Summer Seat Mansion, contacting them trying to get tickets. They have nothing to do with the tickets to my event. These are spaces that I rented to hold the events. All events are sold out. So, people begging and begging, oh, I just need one ticket. Sorry, they're sold out. You snooze, you lose. Keep an eye out when I return to Pennsylvania next year. Not sure when, but I can't help you. They sold out all with 4 events sold out within a couple hours. So, nothing I can do. And there's not going to be cancellations, I assure you. Other than that, too, what else was I going to tell you? I was going to tell you something, and I can't remember what it was. Darn, Hate when that happens. But hey, down below in the description, you can find recommended videos. You can find all the links to my social media platforms. And you can find the link to the free newsletter and to the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community of supporters who help make this free content possible for everybody else. Whether you're a member of the Subscribe Star platform, the platform down below on YouTube, you can be a monthly supporter there. Other than that, yeah, thank you. I couldn't do it without you. And I appreciate all of you and your contributions with infinite love and gratitude. Another thing I wanted to mention, that was it. YouTube's made some changes to their platform, and even though usually content providers put in their own commercial slots, and I only put in a few, and I parked them far apart from each other, because I know what it's like. That's why I became a premium member, because, I like to sometimes listen to a podcast when I'm in the shower, and then a commercial some channels are ridiculous with their commercials, and it's annoying. So that's why I signed up for premium, because most of the content I watch is online anyway, on YouTube. But all of a sudden, YouTube, I'll put in, say, 5 ads in an hour and 15-minute show, and then I go in and there's 30 ads. YouTube keeps doing that. And I tried to shut it off. They don't let you shut it off, and it's ridiculous. And then when you take off their ads, then they pin your ads as not being a good spot, and it's awful. So if that's happened to you, sometimes I forget, because I have to upload it, and after I upload it, I have to go back in after it processes to take out all those ads that YouTube puts in. I don't know why they do that. Well, I know why they do that, because they're all about the money. So I apologize. If that happens, just mention it in the comments, and I will remember to go in and take them out, which people do, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to go take those ads out. Sometimes I forget. But you should only get an ad no more than within 15, 20 minutes of each other. In the beginning, there's a few ads, but after that, it should be 15, 20 minutes apart. Not every friggin' 3-4 minutes. That's crazy. I do not do that. I would never do that to my tribe. You should know that. You should know that. What else? I thought there was something else, but let us move on. This is episode number 183 for September 24th, 2025. A wonderful week has passed, even though there's been emotional surges for many people and maybe even issues with the digestive system or nervous system. But of course, even if it has been a great week for you as it has for me, there's still, more global tensions and this continued effort by the globalists to suppress our free speech. And, of course, push us closer and closer to global conflict. But will they actually get their way? As pushy as they have been lately? Well, the good news is, friends, actually, I do not feel that. I do not feel that a global war is coming in the near future. I do not feel like China wants conflict with the United States. They would like to conquer us, but they don't want that right now. Perhaps in a few years, yeah, definitely. But not quite yet. It's not time yet. However, I do feel that there is much more conflict coming to both Europe and, of course, the Middle East. Things are going to flare up quite a bit before this short period of retreat begins. Everything's going to flare up. It's going to flare up with Russia and Ukraine, which is happening right now. But, it's really going to flare up, pulling in other countries. But then after that, it's going to go back to the whole Iran and Israel. You think that's over? I told you that's not over. It's definitely not over. So I feel like tensions are going to rise between also Turkey and Greece, as I told you in the past. And this feels to me like Turkey is somehow doing the poking here. And it feels to me like some type of a border conflict. And this may not be until sometime to mid to late 2026. But I figured I'd mention that because that came to me really strongly yesterday. And I feel, as I have stated and shared with you all in the past, that there are several countries working together to pose an attack on Israel. And this has been a plan coming together for many years, maybe even a decade. And I feel that if Netanyahu continues to bomb other countries, they are soon going to make a huge mistake, and they're going to bomb the wrong country or the wrong spot, and they're going to be met with fury and rage. Spirit showed me Netanyahu is literally hanging by a thread. So is Putin now in Russia, hanging by a thread. Eventually that thread's going to snap. And that is the biggest concern that I feel right now. The chaos in Europe with Russia, Ukraine, and other European countries that could slowly be pushed into this conflict or pushing themselves closer and closer to being involved in some form or another. I have this vision of some type of a massive drone attack. Massive. Like, this is on a scale like nothing before. This feels so massive to me on a scale as to how many drones there are. that are involved in this. And the small size of them, they look small to me, kind of almost like home drones. That's like homegrown, home drone. The ones you could buy on Amazon or something. They look small. They don't look big. Maybe that big, but just bigger, but it's not that big. But that's what it seems like I see in my vision. And I get this really, really uncomfortable feeling about it. Really uncomfortable feeling about it. And I feel like this uncomfortable feeling may be that it's a flag that flies ever so falsely, as Spirit's been telling us is going to happen. And I am not sure in which direction this flag is flying ever so falsely. We have to think like the globalist puppets, right? We got to think about the puppeteers. Think like them. So if you were the globalist puppeteer behind everything, behind the darkness on the planet, what would you do? Perhaps some type of an attack on NATO, appearing to be from Russia. Just, again, this is hypothetically speaking. Blame it on Russia, giving the green light, of course, for a much larger attack on Russia. Perhaps it's the other way around. Not sure. But we'll see what's happening soon. Now, at the same time, I strongly feel a sense of desperation coming from Putin and Russia, and this feeling that they crossed many lines, and they're going to cross many more lines in the near future of the Russians, basically forcing other countries to stand together against them. They don't want that, but they're going to create that. And we should hold in the light all of Europe, friends, especially if you're in Europe, hold yourself in the light. Because I just see some intense energy and a vision like blowing into Europe, blowing over Europe in the coming weeks. Almost like a dark, dark storm. But I was more metaphoric in my vision. I don't think it was actual literal. I mean, we are in rainy flood season. I mean, according to the astrology anyway. We're in the double 9 vibration this month. We step into the 1 vibration in October, so that should be good on a personal level and hopefully for the collective when it comes to new beginnings and such. But I feel things are going to get much, much more intense in late October into November when it comes to Europe. So I'd say a month from now. So I'd say, say the 21st of October through, say, the 21st of November. We'll pick a 30-day period. Or 31 days, or whatever that adds up to being. Now, I do feel things will wind down eventually, at some point. But I feel that this will not be at the soonest, late November into December. Russia might be put into check by then. Remember, I said in the beginning of the year, this is a 9-year. It could definitely end. Now, I also had this overwhelming thought and feeling that Putin, or his little KGB, is somehow trying to orchestrate several assassinations. And Spirit's like, they're not trying, they are actually orchestrating. I don't know about the success rate, but Spirit just said in my ear, they are orchestrating. And I feel at least one here in the United States. It makes me actually think of Charlie Kirk. So perhaps a target like that divides Americans even more. I'd be like, if I were Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, or even on the other side, I don't know what the other side, I don't listen to any of them people, but I wouldn't want to go outside right now. I definitely wouldn't be speaking in a large crowd. Definitely wouldn't be doing that anytime soon. But I feel like this is their plan that they're orchestrating now. And I would not rule out their plan also, Russia and with others, to take out the president of the United States. And I also feel that they have been trying to take out Zelensky for some time now, according to spirits, but they can't get close enough. He's outsmarted them in some way, which is really interesting, actually. I thought that was interesting when Spirit told me that last night. They've been trying to get him for the longest time, and they just can't do it. So I guess maybe they're moving on to other targets in other countries, but I would watch closely any of the European leaders who attempt to stand against Russia. Like I said, they are going to get very desperate. They are already getting very desperate. What am I saying? Very desperate over there in Russia. Now, another strong feeling I have, which goes back years to past predictions, is that the economy is about to take 3 huge hits. And then Spirit reminded me Often things come in threes, right? They often come in threes. And it feels literally to me like three large nukes. That's how it felt to me, like nukes that are hitting the world markets. It's like somebody sets off a nuke at the world markets, again, metaphorically speaking. So if I were to pick the three big hits, I would say I feel a large event playing out in Europe that's going to cause a huge strike or a huge hit to the euro. I see another strike that somehow affects Japan. And of course, the big strike, the final strike, will be United States. I don't know why, but I can't also help to feel that China is another one that's going to be struck. Even though Spirit said three, I feel like China. So maybe I'm mixing two countries together and it's one, not the other. We'll have to see. But at the same time, this just feels like a domino effect to me. Three big strikes cause the dominoes to fall. So we have to watch the economy where these big strikes are about to take place between now and year end. Now, as you know, it can be a challenge to put any kind of time or date on predictions. But, we do often come up with some timelines, very often come up with timelines and time windows. But remember, we are in the 9 year of endings. That which, those things that do not end like they're supposed to in a 9 year, as they should and they shall, they will end abruptly in the first half of the one vibration, usually within the first quarter or within the first 3 months of the one vibrational year. 2026, we step into the one vibrational year in numerology. So to place that challenging timeline out there, I would say late October into maybe late October into early 2026, maybe April at the latest. I would say that's when the window of time I would feel that would be happening. Could be sooner, but that window of time. And again, looking at the numbers, if things don't end in the 9, they definitely are going to end at some point in the 1 vibration. Now, if by some or many miracles we get through 2025 without these 3 huge strikes on the economy, we would be even luckier to make it through till again March or April of 2026 without seeing some type of major collapse of economies and a collapsing of the dollar. You saw in channel predictions and even in the Black Mirror prophecy, I keep seeing the dollar burning. It's a repetitive vision I keep having, which makes me feel it's on our doorstep. Now, I predicted it years ago that the economy would collapse and they'd push us into this digital system, but now we're in those numbers and energies and I'm seeing the visions of money burning. So something's happening. Now, as I've been telling you for many, many years now, invest in physical things, friends. Instead of, some number on a screen or some monthly bank statement, that isn't doing you no good. Because if everything collapses, that's all going to disappear off that little piece of paper or off your computer screen. Physical investments would include things like precious metals, gold, silver, which have more than doubled, actually, since I've been telling you to buy silver. Silver at least has. I've been telling you to do so. It's more than doubled, which is wild to me. I'm glad I bought some. Now, real estate could also be good. Could still be good, depending on where you are and where you're investing and how you're investing in real estate. Because if you're getting a high interest mortgage and interest rates are ridiculous right now, then that's not necessarily a good investment. Unless you have money stashed away to make sure that you're able to pay that mortgage every month. Cash investments, of course, into the physical is always going to be the best decision if you can do that. Now, the other thing, of course, I would tell you, it's always a great idea to invest in yourself as far as long-term survival foods, a backup generator, or whatever you might need in case of some type of major emergency or long-term power outages. Friends, invest in yourself. Invest in physical assets, things that you have physically. Of course, folks are still talking about Charlie Kirk, and especially after the huge funeral here in Arizona over the weekend. Just like, the Epstein case, friends, there are way too many powerful folks that are obviously do not want this truth coming out into the light. Too many powerful folks. It's going to come out one way or another. So many powerful people, and the same people involved in both cases is my feeling. Even the first attempt to take out DT, it all feels like the same peeps to me. The globalists, the puppeteers, the big bankers, or that elite families. But well, that's a whole nother story. I could do a whole video on the elite families. You know most of them. People think a lot of it's the Rockefellers, but people forget about the, what's the name of that family? You know, we got Columbia Pictures. Washington, D.C. is the District of Columbia. The Columbia family, is that their names? But yeah, or Collins family. I'm sorry, the Collins family. That's where the whole Columbia thing comes from. Just a thought. So let's face it, going back, the majority of us already know the truth. We can feel it deep down in our hearts, our intuition. The vibe says it all, friends. If you tap into that vibe, the vibe will give you the answers. Just like the timelines. It's how us psychics can come up with predictions and things. Tap into the timeline. Tap into the energy. And then read that energy. This is bigger than people will realize. And it's a bigger and bigger push now to wipe away our First Amendment rights and freedom of speech. Remember, America's the one they got to hit the worst if they want to have global control and take away all our freedoms. Because America's supposed to be the most freest country, even though they've slowly been taking our rights away. And it's not even just the freedom of speech. That's just for starters. There's a lot more behind their little agendas than that. And it may sound like conspiracy, but look at all the conspiracies that's become reality. And again, this is what I get intuitively. Don't shoot the messenger if you don't like the message. And remember, if you give these people an inch, they'll take the whole damn yard right out from under you. Remember what Spirit warned us of? Coming flags that would fly ever so falsely. Flying in the United States specifically, ever so falsely. Could this be that flag? You know, that event that happened with Kirk? A flag meant to tear people further and further apart while using as a weapon against us to strip more of our free speech? Just a thought. To bring in more identifiable surveillance state. You know what that is, right? Of course you do. So they can identify you no matter what. The surveillance state that's so good and AI backed, they're already pushing that with Palantir and signing all our stuff over to Palantir here in America. And yeah, it's just a big rabbit hole. Go down, and friends. It's all real. It's really happening. There are some really dark people that think they control this world. But overall, the light will prevail as always. It's in the prophecies. Now, soon, according to Team Spirit, we will actually get to see more of these obvious cover-ups. From fake text messages, those messages from, what's his name, Tyler Robinson, they were so fake. I mean, I don't know how anybody could read that and think that wasn't orchestrated by somebody. Maybe the FBI themselves. How could you not look at that and see, like, that kid, the kids do not text like that. Sorry, they do not. And it kind of answered all their questions one after the other. Did you see that? One question after an answer. I mean, look at the texts. Look at them. Kids that age don't text or word things like that. And what did he say in one of those texts? He called it what they call the police car, a squad car. Cops do not call. I know a lot of police officers, let me tell you, and they call it they call it their cruiser. They're police cruisers. They don't call it squad cars. It's like a 1970s saying, for sure. Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Some old guy sitting back at the FBI, oh, squad car. Dude, you're out of touch. They call them police cruisers nowadays. Just saying. And there's going to be more proof. There already is proof that the shooter is behind Charlie, diagonally. Or now some people even speculate that he was below. Did you see the whole trapdoor that was underneath the little tent? Did you also see that they went in and concreted over it since? Friends, that's some shady crap right there. Like shady. What was in the trapdoor? And when we want to go find out, of course, they concreted it up so you can't get in. I say we break the concrete and go in and look. Is it just a little hatch with somebody hiding under there? Just a thought. Just feels weird to me. Just the whole thing feels very weird. The shooter was behind Charlie diagonally is my feeling. And now we're seeing more and more videos online that show this. You see the flash behind him that matches up perfectly with the sound of a firearm. And it matches up perfectly with hitting him. You see it. If you're facing Charlie, you see it off to the left side. So I guess it would be his right side. Off to the left in the back corner. I mean, go look for the videos yourself. And I told you, the flash behind him, yeah, it just all matches up really perfectly. It's pretty creepy, actually. The whole thing's pretty creepy. It gets even creepier. And it's going to get even creepier. Obviously, that fatal shot did not come from the front. And especially they're saying whatever bullet they said it was, that kind of bullet, if you look at people that, like, online that shoot those bullets, the whole head would be gone. Or at least the neck would. Yeah, definitely not that bullet. It did not come from in front. Tell us more. Tell us more. Tell us more lies. More and more evidence is going to continue to pour out from this, friends. And it was a tragic event. And it should really not matter what your views are. We should all actually agree that this was a very tragic event and no person deserves to go out the way that man did over free speech. Now, I personally don't agree with this guy at all. Don't agree with him, especially his views on the gay community. Don't agree. He's like too far right Christian to me. Nothing against Christians, of course. I have Jesus right here, actually, from somebody sent me that. One of you beautiful tribe members. But yeah, and his views. And hey, he's got a right to have his views. He didn't do it in a hateful way that I've seen anyway. Again, I didn't follow the guy. I really don't know. Don't really care to follow anything like that. But his views, I obviously don't agree with. But it's still a right of speech. And his free will beliefs as well. Because we have free will, and our free will allows us to believe what we want. So next, I would be willing to bet that we are going to see a similar attack on the far left as a way to bring more divide. They'll blame it on MAGA. They almost tried to blame this on MAGA. The whole thing's just weird. Far left, far right. Stay in the middle, independent. That's where I'd prefer to be. Independent. Watch it. It's all just a show, friends. Just watch the show from afar. Watch the show from afar. But I do feel like there is going to be a similar attack more towards the far left, and even more attacks towards, of course, those that they call far right or MAGA. Like, again, perhaps Tucker Carlson, for example. I just saw this morning, too, that there was a pow-pow event in Texas at an ICE facility. Somebody went in there and started, pow-powing people that work for ICE. That's so not cool. They're doing their job. They're just doing their job. They have a boss. Like, you can't take it on them. You just can't take it out on them. And I hadn't even go into that. I didn't see how many were shot or anything like that. I just saw the article first thing this morning. I didn't read the article. But yeah, it's another tragic pow-pow event in Texas, of course. Of course it would be in Texas, because that's where everybody was crossing the borders. One of the places anyway. They were doing it here in Arizona too. We're going to unfortunately see this on both sides to bring more and more of a divide in a way that these globalists can pass some type of laws attempting to limit our speech, using hate speech as an excuse. But what specifically defines hate speech? That's going to be the big argument. That's a huge argument. What specifically defines that? Because freedom of speech. Some people need to be banned, of course. Yeah, sure, hate speech is no good. I agree. No good. But remember, one thing leads to another, friends, when it comes to controlling the population. One thing leads to another, and I still strongly feel that there's going to be another takedown or an attempt on a religious leader or a preacher of some sort. And I guess you could say Kirk was a bit of a preacher. He wasn't really a preacher, but you know what I mean. He was preaching for sure, debating and preaching at the same time, pushing those beliefs on others. So that could be considered. Remember, we have those same astrological alignments going in place, or that have been in place for some time now, that happened the same time as the whole JFK and Martin Luther King thing. Same alignments that happened during the Civil War. Like, a lot's happening in the American chart that's happened. Yeah, we're about to repeat history again. And it appears that we already are repeating history again. So, again, I strongly feel that there's going to be another takedown or attempt on a religious leader, preacher, or someone this is just an example, like Joel Osteen. He's the only one I could think of because I don't really, again, follow any of them, so I don't really know them all by name. Or someone similar. Now, I also sadly feel more attacks are going to come on churches as well. I've been saying this for a while, but churches, and, that would also be eventually mosques and synagogues, but definitely churches and synagogues, big ones coming up. So will we ever get the truth on any of this? Could this be the flag that flies ever so falsely that Spirit's been warning us we would be witnessing here in the U.S.? Spirit says truth will prevail. Truth will begin, truth will prevail. Remember, truth begins in the heart, friends. Tap into that heart energy. Tap into that heart energy. Truth is in the heart. And when folks begin to awaken, and they are awakening, but there's new awakening levels coming and new light codes that are going to be flowing in the coming months that are going to awaken people to other levels. And without question, the full truth is going to ring very loudly in their heart and soul. And really, that does, as long as we know the truth, I guess it doesn't always matter, as long as you know. And remember, not everybody's going to wake up. Not everybody is going to snap out of it, unfortunately. But a lot of people are, and that's exciting. Now, the accountability that comes from this stuff and these evil things that they do, including even around the Epstein file, the accountability that comes feels to me that it's more karmic than anything. That's what Spirit gave me the feeling last night. It's more karmic than anything. And I feel like there's this window of time, either we're in now or coming up soon, where karma is strongly going to be served to those who proceed in their lives and in the past with bad, ill intentions. So that's going to be interesting to witness. So that's the accountability. Not necessarily will it be public accountability. I mean, the public will likely see some of these karmas coming, but that's what Spirit said. And I could really do a whole video just on the whole Charlie thing and a huge obvious cover-up that is taking place once again. What I can tell you is there's quite a group of people that were present at this event that were a part of this very well-orchestrated takedown. That's what Spirit showed me last night. A large group of people. And more footage is going to come into play. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Watch it closely. While more and more lives will become put at risk because of the footage that's being released. Like the camera that was behind Charlie, we're still waiting for that footage. The guy took it down. Apparently Candace Owens got in contact with him, and we're still not seeing that footage because the guy claims he's afraid of his life. First thing I would have done was made many discs and sent them all out to other people. Period. That's the first thing you do, because if your life's going to be at risk, at least get that information out before they stop you from doing so. Once you get it out, there's no risk anymore. You got the information out. There's no sense in taking you out. Just, again, another thought. All right, where was I? My camera overheated. I don't know why. It's not really hot in here today. But it does that from time to time. So where was I? So we were talking about that I felt that there were several planet people put into the audience at the Charlie Kirk event. Planet powers, perhaps, or make it look like there were powers. You know how that old man, George Zinn was his name, who happened to be 9/11 and the Boston bombings. How coincidental is that? No coincidences, as you know. There to take people's attention away. Exactly what they did. And I feel that there were. And now there's video of not just one person on the roof, but a total separate roof that there's somebody on top of. So could Tyler be in two places at once? Definitely not. Definitely not. And they were there just to make sure that they succeeded in their mission, is my feeling. In case the first one from behind missed, the other ones were ready to go. That's where all the symbols were. We saw the guys make the symbols behind Charlie. I don't know how people don't see that. Tyler Robinson's just a plant being set up. Yeah, sure, he was there, no doubt, likely. But it's not what they're telling us. And do not at all be surprised if you see him suddenly drop out of the picture. Tyler Robinson. I feel like he's going to drop out of the picture. And I think it's going to be another Epstein excuse. Otherwise, at this point, they know he can walk. He could walk if he went to court. He can walk from this entirely. And they don't want that to happen. Because if he walks, then they certainly don't want him, talking to anybody. They don't want him out. They don't want him talking, just like they didn't want Epstein talking. Well, Epstein, that's a different story. That man's still alive. But regardless, something also feels very off to me. And please, let me know if you feel the same thing. Again, I don't really know these people. I don't really follow these people. But I got to tell you, something feels so off to me when it comes to Charlie's wife. Erica? Is that her name, Erica? Whatever her name is, it's irrelevant. What's relevant here is that something feels so off. And it feels very uncomfortable off. I can't quite put my finger on it at the moment. But when I get a feeling, friends, let me tell you, my friend's family will tell you too, when I get a feeling that something's off, it's never for good reason. Never. And this story, it's obviously not going to be disappearing anytime soon. Just like the Epstein, it's not going to disappear. And I will look closer at this the next time I look into the Black Mirror prophecy session, which will probably be next week. I'll look into the Black Mirror prophecy, see what the Black Mirror tells us, see if the spirits tell me anything now between now and then. But also, I'll be doing an answering question segment in my next video, whether that comes out this week, next week, not sure, whatever I get time to do. But I'll be answering questions, a bunch of questions in the comments I still haven't gotten to. And, if you want to have a question, of course, leave questions in the comments, not in the chat room during live premieres, in the comments down below. And you must begin with the capital Q, semicolon, in your question. No personal questions, and it's a single question. No guarantee that your questions will be answered, but I will also mention again that I do feel separately that civil unrest is coming to the United States. We can actually say it's going to be a modern-day civil war between parties, which I think is happening already. Hopefully, out of the ashes of this conflict is going to rise the party that I predicted a few years back. Remember, I felt that there was going to be a new party that arises, a party that will rise that we could call a party that is truly for the people. Now, this party might not arise until 2032 when we come out of this 7-year window of time. It could come sooner, but I also feel like it's likely going to come after states begin breaking apart, as I've been predicting also for years now. I see civil conflict mainly in the big cities. Much of this coming conflict feels once again very orchestrated in some form or some way. And Spirit does ensure us all that we will continue to be hit with these energies and these light codes that are going to continue to awaken the masses to new levels and new knowledge and new wisdom and spiritual ascension. So there will be good that comes out of all of this, I assure you. Speaking of civil unrest, more major protests against Israel, technically, and clashes. This time in Milan, Italy. Go, our Italian friends. Look at the footage here as folks get a bit angry and begin going a bit cray-cray on authorities. I warned y'all that the energies coming in this past weekend were bound to turn peaceful protests into not so peaceful situations. And that's exactly what we see here playing out in Milan, Italy. And this is only going to spread. Now, several countries have come out recognizing Palestine statehood. Canada, Australia, Portugal, the United Kingdom, and I'm sure France will probably follow if they didn't already, and many others. I think there's going to be some kind of vote for it at the UN or something like that. But do you actually think the United States will ever recognize Palestine statehood? Not while Trump's in charge. Because it doesn't matter, this is truth here, friends. He stands to make a ton of money, billions of money from Israel. Not to mention, there are many bribes, Spirit showed me, that are in place that keep the president and everybody else in check. Probably the Epstein files. At some point, it's going to be recognized, Palestine state by the United States, eventually. But I feel that this won't happen until the power changes hands in the White House. And it could be Vance that turns around and surprises people and names them the Palestinian state, or acknowledges them as a Palestinian state. We'll have to hang on and watch this one closely because, Israel's back there fighting like crazy, bombing more countries, getting into places they don't belong. So we're also going to see a large crackdown on these protests and riots in the near future. These transits that are coming in are all about crackdowns, some big crackdowns, which is going to cause more rioting. When they try to crack things down, people go crazier. So I see a crackdown that becomes a very large, controversial crackdown. So I'm guessing that the crackdown is going to cause injury, maybe even, unalive a few protesters, and it causes big controversy. This is probably maybe within the coming week or two. Something to keep our eyes out for. Now, Israel came out stating that they used some kind of laser beams to intercept missiles. Did you hear about that? What did I tell you about that new use of new weapons? I just didn't think it was coming from Israel, but maybe they got lent to them by the United States. Who knows? Not to mention many of our discussions about this technology, the DEWs. The DEWs, friends. Look it up. Directed energy. Are you familiar with, also separately, Israel did this big deal called Project Nimbus. Actually, I should look that up right now and show you. What is Project Nimbus? It's Google's $1.2 billion Israel deal. And I'm not going to go into the whole deal. I thought it was less than that, but $1.2 billion. Google has fired 28 employees for protesting a deal called Project Nimbus. But what is it, and why is it so controversial? Well, we know. Any country doing a deal with Google, we know. You don't even need to be psychic to figure that one out. You don't even need to be smart to figure that one out. A little kid can figure that one out, friends. A little kid can figure that out. So what's going to happen with Israel in the near future? I already told you. Things are going to escalate big time. Remember, all the prophecies, especially those in the Holy Bible, are all stationed right in the Middle East. Sure, there'll be a little bit of time of peace and maybe even a peace agreement. But it won't last because, of course, the Antichrist, they say, is going to arise. Speaking of which, it was supposed to be the rapture. What happened? They were wrong again. They come up with these dates all the time. You cannot put dates on predictions and things, especially out of prophecy. You can't put a date on prophecy. I can't put a date on many predictions. You think you know when the rapture is going to happen? No, you know nothing. No. And the rapture has been taken out of context like so many other things that have been misinterpreted and miswritten in the converting this ancient text into the Bible. Remember, it was, what's his name? King George. Just look him up. We'll just leave it at that and move on to our next topic. Outbreaks, friends. Outbreaks are here. And I warned that we were going to be hearing of the bird flu once again, did I not? It might have been in my forecast for 2025. And now, of course, this comes with it another push against our food supplies, specifically eggs and poultry. And boy, friends, was that an understatement that I made. Because when I went and Googled last night the bird flu, I was shocked by the amount of articles and places reported just in the past 3 to 4 days. It's off the charts. Off the charts. So, friends, expect another huge uptick in the price of poultry and eggs. Like, eggs are ridiculous as is. And I eat eggs every day for breakfast, almost every day. But they're good for the brain. Remember, your brain is made up of myelin. And myelin is cholesterol. Just saying. And they tell you, oh, your cholesterol's too high. Yeah, because they want to dumb you up, friends. They want to dumb you up. But anyway, this would be a great time, more than ever, to consider ordering some freeze-dried eggs. Now, I have them, a big can of them. I have a couple because I ordered them a couple years ago. And the price is tripled from, ordering, 6 months ago. And I'll probably order some more just in case. Could be a good trade item in the future. You never know. Freeze-dried eggs and stocking up, putting them in your survival pantry. I would also recommend getting yourself some big cans of freeze-dried chicken. You can get that. Grab it because the prices are going to skyrocket. I have quite a few cans of dry, even beef, freeze-dried, like the big coffee can things. Yeah. Get yourself some. Invest. Now, I first heard this story coming out of the British Columbia. This is what made me look up the whole bird flu thing. And it was a story about ostriches. Have you ever had an ostrich steak? Yes, steak. It's red, like beef. Who knew, right? Did you know that? I worked in a restaurant a long time ago, and that was it was a fine dining restaurant, too. That was one of the things they served, and I got to tell you, it was delicious. It was like filet mignon. At least in a fine dining restaurant it was. I don't know about ordering it yourself. But here's the thing. This terrible story where this ostrich farm up in the British of Columbia, it was taken over by the government. The Canadian authorities took over this ostrich farm, demanding to culling, take out coal as C-U-L-L, take out the C-U and put a K-I instead, and that's what they're going to do. 400 ostriches. And they're running around and having a good old time. There's nothing wrong with these birds. And they haven't even been tested for the bird flu. Here's the spokesperson for the farm. Give a listen.
Here we are at risk of getting arrested to be taken off our own property, and our whole own property, our private property, being taken over. And no farmer, no Canadian should ever have to go through this. So, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. Canadian Food Inspection Agency has said that the call will take place within the next couple days. They have to set up. But in meantime, that we're losing our property rights, the rights to protect the animals that our family has raised for 35 years. We are not poultry. We are not a commercial poultry industry, and we are not food consumption. We are research that can help animal and human welfare. Watching my mom today fall to her knees multiple times, thinking she's going to lose everything, has been probably one of the hardest days of my life. And mine too, because you just don't understand. It's hard to understand. How did we get here? 9 months later, 250 days healthy. How did we get here? How did we get here? I mean, this is a lot of life that's going to be lost and thrown in a dumpster if we don't stand up as Canadians. So I think we have a lot of hope still. There's miracles happen every day, and we're praying for a miracle.
This is a truly sad and tragic story, friends, and shame on the Canadian authorities for orchestrating this horror show, because that's exactly what it is. And it got worse yesterday. Just yesterday, this is what happened at the farm. People got arrested. The farmers got arrested. Check it out.
Anger reaching a boiling point. 2 ostrich farm owners taken into custody.
They were going out feeding, and they got arrested in the back corner where nobody is.
Karen Esperson, one of the Universal Ostrich Farm owners in Edgewood, was seen being put into a police van. Her daughter, Katie Pasitny, also arrested. No charges laid.
Yes, I can confirm that 2 people have been arrested under the Health of Animals Act. The RCMP are here at the request of the lead agency, the CFIA, to assist them in executing a lawful search warrant on a property on a farm. 2 individuals refused to leave the property and were subsequently arrested.
The arrests come as the Canadian Food Inspection Agency plans to carry out its call order against the 400 birds on the farm.
Prayers to all those folks and all those poor little ostriches, poor big ostriches, they are pretty big. It's not looking good. And this doesn't feel good to me either. It feels like a scene that's about to be filmed for a horror movie that's going to take place. The ostriches, they're not even being used for food consumption. If you listen to the lady, the spokesperson, closely, they're used for something else. So shame on you, Canadian authorities and government. Shame on you. Backed, of course, by the WEF and the WHO, of course, backing this whole thing up. Wow. This is happening all over again, friends. Like back in 2022. And it feels like this round is going to be a lot more severe. Just as I predict for the coming flu season. Same thing. I feel like it's going to be a very high peak season. And check out all the places just in the past few days. And I'll only mention a few here because there's a lot. We have the bird flu detected in Iowa. Won't be long before they'll be calling all the birds in Iowa. First outbreak since 2022 hitting Michigan. In South Dakota, more than 400,000 turkeys have already been put to rest. So, friends, expect this coming Thanksgiving here in the United States anyway. Turkey dinner for Thanksgiving is going to be a lot more expensive this year. As if things aren't expensive enough. And overseas, they are having a big outbreak in Poland on farms in the north. And even our friends in Ireland are also being put on alert over the bird flu. It's happening, friends. And it's a bit earlier. I think it's a little bit early right now for there to be any flu season, whether it's the birds or the people. And this to me is a sure sign that It's going to be a cold, sick winter for many. Not for all, but for many. And next, they're going to be coming for your backyard chickens. I assure you, if we allow them to push it. Remember, I wanted chickens in this neighborhood. And then, of course, the HOA Nazis. No, you can't have it. It's in the bylaws. And then one of you tribe members sent me the law in Arizona. Yeah, they passed a law several years back that in the state of Arizona, if you have a backyard, no administration, no municipal, and no HOA can tell you can't have at least 4 to 6 chickens. Or 4 or 6, it's one of those numbers. They can limit the amount, but they can't limit less than 4 or less than 6 or something like that. But there's a law. I brought this up. Of course, the HOA still wants to fight me on it, but they can't because I could sue them for discrimination. Like, you can't tell me I can't have chickens. Hello, it's the law. They think they are the law here, like a lot of HOAs. Tell you, next move, don't move into a HOA place. Don't do it, friends. They're like the worst. Sometimes it's like living in Nazi Germany. Stay away from the homeowners associations. But anyway, are they going to come for that? Because if you research, going back to the backyard chickens, that's what I was talking about. If we allow them to push it, they're going to push it. Like if I believe what the HOA said, then I won't get chickens. Or if they tried to push me not having them or what have you. Remember, also the whole discovery that happened around eggs, and the 2020 bug, without saying it. You can research that for yourself. Yeah. And, right after that discovery is when all the egg farms started burning down and all that. Eggs are also great for the brain, like I told you. They're great for protein. And chicken has the most protein, more protein than beef. So chicken's the way to go. Chicken's the way to go. So think about that. Think about that and look at this. I couldn't open the actual article, so I just took a clip of the Google results. When I was looking up bird flu, this article, for some reason, wouldn't let me read the article. It told me to turn off my ad blocker, and I wasn't about to do that. So think about that for a minute. Look, just look what it says, clear as day. You see right here, bird flu in backyard poultry in Michigan. Bird flu in backyard poultry flock in Michigan. So they're already pushing it. They're already saying, your backyard chickens are contaminated. You got to put them to rest. A sure sign, friends, that some states and some countries, they're going to be coming for your chickens next. Don't give in, friends. Don't give in. Get yourself some chickens if you can. As I said, when I looked up the bird flu, the amount of articles was endless across the globe. A sure sign of another bird flu pandemic that is already on our doorsteps. It's already entering our front door, friends. Already entering our front door. I talked many times about breaks in cases involving little ones and the rescue of little ones, mainly those caught up in traffic, if you know what I mean. In Alabama, friends. I just moved the camera with my foot. Oops, sorry. I jumped it around. I'm probably crooked now. Oh, well. At least I'm still here, right? I forgot when I stretch my legs out, it hits the camera. My bad. Anyway, in the state of Alabama, a very disturbing rescue took place of 10 little ones, all held captive in a bunker. Extremely disturbing, friends, extremely disturbing. But thankfully, they have been rescued, and many arrested in this case. Several others rescued in different states. Even in the country of India, big rescues have taken place. And I just read something, what is his name? Sheriff Brady? Is that his name? The guy, he's pretty funny, actually. I find him humorous. I think I have it on my computer over here somewhere. Brody, not Brady, Brody. I think it's Sheriff Brody. That just popped in my head. I think it's Brody. I didn't find it on my computer, but he's down there in Florida. I think he's in Florida or Texas. He just announced another big break in those caught up in traffic. So I thought that was interesting. Very, very interesting. So it's happening, friends, just as predicted. They are making it happen. Rescues are taking place. Hallelujah. Save the children. Save the kiddies. More resignations have taken place, as predicted, over the past week, beginning with one being the founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. He's a little upset. I think he's on one of those far sides. I don't know, far left, far right, but far sides. Regardless, he's also bringing out, what's the name? Oh, wait, I have it in my notes over here somewhere. Unilever? Is that the name of the company? I think it's called Unilever. The company that basically pushes out that ice cream. The company's corrupt. Definitely a part of the web of darkness. And he did mention that, so kudos to him for that. Something. Someone I'm sure will put it in the comments or in the chat. But yeah, I told you we were going to see major resignations of CEOs, leaders, and so forth. There was even this. An ABC news anchor resigned after paying tribute to Charlie Kirk. I don't know how she paid tribute, but she ain't got a job no more, that's for sure. She resigned. And you know they forced her to resign, probably gave her some little payout, a little severance package. Now, we also, remember last week we talked about Jimmy Kimmel. He was pulled, and now he's back on the telly, friends, back on the telly, thanks to Disney Company. Or no thanks to Disney Company. I could care less. We know about Disney, and we know about that. I didn't know that Kimmel was a Disney-owned company or show or whatever. He's back on. But remember what I told you. And he's not even funny. I like the days of David Letterman, and, well, I was too little for Johnny Carson, but Johnny Carson was, of course, always the best. David Letterman. That was about it. All the rest stink. And nobody really watches that anymore. Well, I mean, they must if they're still on telly. But as I predicted, we're going to see a fall of late-night television. I predicted this a month or two ago, and we just saw Kimmel cancel, but now he's back on again. But that's not going to last. He's not going to last. I guarantee you he's going to lose ratings. It's going to go down the hill, and it's going to cost some money and within a few years. And when is Jimmy Kimmel's birthday? Jimmy Kimmel is November 13th. That puts him in his 6th personal year in numerology. So he might last another 2.5 years, if he's lucky. And that's when we'll see them all drop. And, you know, some of my predictions do take 2 to 3 years before they actually come into fruition. And I remember this just popped in my mind. I talked about Disney and big things coming out of Disney not so good either. And even a drop in Disney stocks. A big drop. Spirit showing a huge drop in Disney stocks. So I don't know what's happening with Disney, but So do you think Kimmel will last? Let me know in the comments down below. The other things, well, we had the rapture that never happened. Very disappointing. I was expecting Jesus to show up and take me on his little spaceship to the sun. Yeah, that didn't happen. We knew that wasn't going to happen. Can't put dates on things. Did you see the growing meteor? I think it's in Colombia. This guy in Colombia, he's, of course, got a TikTok page that's pumping big time right now. Apparently, he supposedly, allegedly found this little meteor, which is possible that he found the meteor, but all of a sudden it started growing. Now, I was going to show you a video of it, but you can just go look it up. Type in growing meteorite, and it'll be all over the place. Is it real? People are asking, what's going on? People are making it look like a horror movie, and it looks like a horror movie. I could just sum it up real simple for you, friends. If it were real, he would have disappeared already. The government would have confiscated it all by now. His government, our government, whatever. That would have happened by now. So I don't know what he's doing to make this happen, but it doesn't feel real to me. And again, obviously, if it was, things would be much, much different. Now, I also did mention the Pow Pow event that took place in Texas, the ice place. What else do I have here in my notes? Oh, a couple of predictions. This came to me last night. All of a sudden, I just saw big fires in Australia. Big fires in Australia. And, and if you go back to one of my map scrying of videos, I pointed to a certain area of Australia for fires. I don't have that in front of me, or I tell you. But it makes me think of that, too. But big fires in Australia. I'll try to tune in more closer to that. Maybe we'll do some map scrying sometime within the next few weeks. I will be going away most of October again. But I will still have a show at least the one Tuesday. I'll still have content. I'll still be around. I'll still be around, friends, even though I'll be around but not around. Now, I had this random vision of India. Not sure where in India. But I know that I was in India. I don't know how. I just know I was in India. And in this vision, I see people running. They were running in all different directions, like in panic. Just people running. As if they were running away from something really big, such as, just an example, an attack on the city. The thought and the vision also comes to mind of seeing, this is going to sound weird, creatures escaping a fire in the forest, like in the movie Bambi, right? You see all the animals running out of the forest from the fire. That's what it reminded me of. I don't know why. I know it was very random. So perhaps this is fire related? Some type of big fire in a city in India that causes people to flee in all directions? I think that fire is probably somehow connected to this in some way or another. But I'm not sure how. So we'll have to keep that and watch that play out. And remember, I will also have hopefully a video out tomorrow, Thursday, if I get the time. That might likely be the questions video, so get your questions in down below, and we'll do that. I'll film it tomorrow and hopefully have it out tomorrow or definitely by Friday. Monday will be the release of the October forecast and predictions, and there's another Tuesday still left in the month. So I'll see you all next Tuesday as well. And then I've also got some mail here. First, I got this lovely gift. You are another year older. Wow, thanks for reminding me. I now qualify for AARP. Happy birthday, Joseph. Dear Joseph, wishing you a fabulous birthday. People, years go by fast. Happy birthday. Pour some tea and see the universe appear. I should have got my hot water to show you. Darn. But check it out. Oh, okay, so this is a mug, as you see here, with just some stars on it. But apparently when you fill it with hot tea, it creates a whole universe. That's freaking awesome. Small teacup. I like big teacups, but I'm going to try this, of course. And I actually drink small cups like this. This will work perfect. What do you call it? The mushrooms for memory. See, I have no memory right now. I don't remember. But thank you so much. And this came from Michelle. From the Great White North, she says. That must be somewhere in Canada, I would imagine. The Great White North. Thank you, Michelle. That's really cool. I can't wait to fill it up. Lion's mane. That's what I was thinking. Lion's mane mushroom. So I'll have my lion's mane mushroom in that. When I like to focus, lion's mane is the way to go. Lion's mane is the way to go. And L-theanine, too. I take L-theanine for that. Billy K always sends me something cool. Billy, I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in years. The date, your birthday, planet Earth. Aliens have finally made contact, and they want just one thing. Then you open it up. That's cute. Happy birthday, Earthling with the little UFO. And that is from Billy. Joseph. Happy birthday. Hope it is a great day for you. It was, Billy. Thank you. I always look forward to your shows. Oh, thanks so much. And hey, thank all of you. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the love. I checked my post office box, I think, for Thursday or Friday. I think there may be something else in there by now, but I haven't checked, so I'll have to check it when I get back down to town, and I'm not sure when that'll be. But other than that, thank you, Billy. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you all for your love, your contributions, for your memberships, and for helping make this free content possible for everybody else. I love doing it, love bringing it to you, and I hope you continue to love it. And if you do, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, love button, as we call it. Not only does it help the channel, but it actually helps you and the algorithms to show more content on your feed like this from other providers on other platforms. And remember, you can find me on other platforms too down below in the links. You can find my short videos of predictions. Follow me on IG or TT, TikTok, Instagram, and X is where I put my short videos. So check me out there. And make sure that if you ever get a direct message on any of those social media platforms that appear to be me offering you a reading or some other BS, that is not me. Report those fake profiles immediately. And again, thank you to all the supporters who made this free content possible for everybody else. Until the next time, friends, remember to celebrate life, celebrate you, and be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And until the next time, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly, friends, and I will see you in the future. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends. Much love.